littleBits STEAM PD program. We're very happy to have you with us today. I'm Christine Leonard. I'm with the marketing team at littleBits. Thank you so much for joining us. With us, we also have Erin Mulcahy. She is with the education team at littleBits. We have Sergio Anaya, the supervisor of instructional innovation at the Colonial School District. We also have Tom Pierantosi. He is a middle school teacher also at the Colonial School District. So today we will be reviewing the new STEAM PD program from littleBits. It will be an introduction and a demo. We will also be reviewing the case study from the Colonial School District. A couple of housekeeping notes for us. If you have questions, please enter them in the questions section of your control panel. We have a special offer of 20% pricing on PD through the end of the year, so be sure to keep that in mind. We will be recording this webinar, and we will be sending it out to all participants about an hour or two after the webinar ends. So if you have to leave in the middle of it, don't worry, you'll be getting a recording at the end. Also, all attendees will be receiving our new guide on starting a STEAM program in your school as a little extra thank you for joining us. So with that, I'd love to hand it over to Erin, and she will take us through littleBits as an introduction in case you're not as familiar, as well as a demo of our new PD program. So Erin, take it away.
Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar today. As Christine said, we'll start off with a short overview of what we're doing at littleBits and how the STEAM PD course came about. So littleBits, our mission is to empower everyone to create inventions, whether they're large or small, with our platform of easy-to-use electronic building blocks. Right now we have about 70 modules in our littleBits library. As you can see here, everything is color-coded, and they snap together magnetically. And so the basics is that blue is power, and those are what drives power through your circuit. Pink is input, so those are things that add control to your circuit. They either react to you or the environment. These are things like buttons, dimmers, or sensors. And then orange is wire. Orange can also be logic and can add some complexity to your circuit. And the things that do something are the green ones, or outputs. And this is the basic order of how you can put your circuit together. And with those 70 modules, you can create endless combinations. littleBits also plays nicely with a lot of its other friends and partners. We have some software integrations that work with IFT, which works with the cloud bit. We're actually developing a new Minecraft extension now, which will be able to combine the interactions on the screen with physical action through littleBits. We also have an Arduino module, so you can start using coding and programming within your circuits. And then we do have a brick adapter through Lego. And so the beauty of littleBits is that when you combine these modules with other materials and some imaginations, the possibilities are really limitless. And through these modules, and over the past 3 years, we've grown our educator base to about 9,000 educators. And these are in elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, and even universities all around the world. And so some of the feedback that we've heard is that educators need a bit more support to help teachers and students incorporate littleBits into the classroom. One of the things that we've been working on lately is the Invention Cycle, which aligns very nicely to the NGSS practice standards, where you're creating a circuit or a project, which aligns to developing using models. Through playing, you're asking questions, defining problems, and planning and carrying out investigations. And through Remix, where you trade out a bit or you try it for a different purpose, you're starting to actually analyze your data and start creating explanations and designing solutions. I mean, through sharing, you're engaging in conversation, developing arguments to support what you're working on, and also obtaining and collecting information. And another thing that we hear a lot from educators is that they would love some professional development training. And so this is really where the PD was born from. We focused on grades 2 through 8, and the course that we've developed is an interactive, hands-on course that combines online and offline learning. If you're interested in learning more, we do have a designated landing page, which is littlebits.cc/STEAMPD. And what you will receive in the STEAMPD seat is a 6-hour online course. There's 5 self-paced sessions. Included in the hardware component of the course is a littleBits kit, which includes the Gizmos and Gadgets kit, which is our newest kit that includes the Invention Cycle book, 12 projects. You'll also receive the Educator's Guide, as well as 4 additional modules that work really well for the classroom. And at the end of the course, educators will receive a PDU certificate for 6 hours of online training. And through the course, you'll be learning how littleBits work and how you can manage this in your classroom, how you can actually use this cycle of creating, playing, remixing, and sharing to really drive at those key 21st century skills. And you can also understand how littleBits can be used across the curriculum to really make any content into a STEAM learning experience. And you can also start applying the Invention Cycle to lesson development and align those lessons to standards and 21st century skills. So, to actually show you how this works, let me switch over to the session. So this is what the course looks like when you enter in and you've registered as a user. This is, you just click Start here. And so now you'll see that there's 5 sessions and that you can access. There's a navigation bar on the bottom of your screen. There's also a menu here, so if you need to see what slides are coming up or want to go back, you can access here. There's also an option to print your slides, which is nice if you're going through the material and you want to reference it at a later date. And the navigation bar here also helps you move through the course. The panel itself is divided into a few key features. You'll see some interactive sections throughout the sessions, including quizzes, action plans, and occasional magnifying glasses, which will pop out images and videos so you can look at them in more detail. There's also some key navigation buttons that will take you through if you want to skip examples or go back to a session that you previously visited. That option is there. And of course, the sessions are available at the top if you want to go back for reference. One of the key pieces that we've involved in this course is the action plan. This is a point of reference as you go through the course, and you can reflect on questions that we ask you. It's also nice, like I said, if you're completing the course and you want to revisit it 6 months, a year later, you'll have this as a printable PDF. And the course itself, as we mentioned, is broken up into 5 key sections. There'll be an introduction to littleBits in session 1. In session 2, you'll actually start inventing with littleBits and creating circuits in your first project. In session 3, we take you through how you can actually incorporate STEM and the Invention Cycle into your classroom. In session 4, we go through how to actually manage littleBits as far as organization, understanding student protocols, troubleshooting, helpful hints so that you'll have a successful littleBits setup. And then in the last session, you can take what you've learned and actually start creating your own lesson and then putting those lessons on our website so you can share them with other educators. And then each of the sessions have a welcome screen, so you'll see what will be presented in the next few slides. Session 1, as I mentioned, is really an introduction to littleBits. And we've designed this so you don't need the hardware for this first session. It's really just providing an overview and understanding how and why littleBits would make sense for your classroom. And so to give you an example of what is in the course, there's interactive videos throughout the course. So there's background on STEAM, how you can bring littleBits as a material into your classroom to guide STEAM learning and practices. There's several videos from our founder, Aya Badir, tells a bit of her story and how littleBits are developed and how she sees littleBits being used both in classrooms but also in the hands of people throughout the world. And just some more examples of interactive features, taking you through some of the demos. And there's also quotes and reflections throughout the course. So this slide here just gives you an overview of what is to come. So we go into different sections of how you can deepen your learning through projects, tie littleBits to standards, and foster the science and engineering practices. And some of the other features throughout the session, these are the prompts for the action plan. So if you haven't already downloaded, there's a link here. And the questions like, do you really have to pick between rigor and creativity in education? And what do you think? These are great opportunities if you're taking the course as a coworker. If you write down your answer and then share it, either the session is over or the course is over, it's a nice collaboration tool. And there's also these quizzes throughout. So we've designed these so that you can check your answers and there's explanations, and then you can always go back and reference them at the end of the session. So as you go through, you'll see that every session has a review. So it recaps the key points from the previous slide. There's also a take action panel. So this is getting you to think about what's to come. There's also some references and links to our site. And you can start thinking about how you can actually start using littleBits in your classroom based on your particular grade level and subject area that you're most interested in. And then in the What's Next panel in each session, you'll be able to look ahead and see how you're going to take your learning to the next level. So that's session one. We recommend you don't have to take the course all in one go. I think it actually would work best if you split it up, take some time to reflect, and actually try some of these examples as we go along out with your students. You'll see as we go into session two, this is the part where the kit is introduced. And so you're going through unboxing your bits. And this is a nice way to go through your bits and actually check if you want to learn more about the button. You can click in here. And we've organized them in color code order, but it's also a great reference tool. You could even print this out in your classroom. And so session two is really about the bit basics and creating your first circuit. So if we go to actually playing and remixing, you'll start to see that we're starting to introduce the invention cycle in connection to actually using your bits. So we're suggesting that you try out a bit here, swap in a DC motor, and you can actually go through and view videos on how the invention cycle becomes a framework that you can use in your classroom. And there's checkpoints along the way that you can check your knowledge and see if you get one wrong. We'll let you know. So that is session two. We apply it to the invention cycle to the classroom. We also bring you through the process of inventing something, this in particular the circuit for your classroom. And so once you've gone through this session, now you're ready for session three. Session three is all about doing a deeper dive into building and how you can actually use it with your students. And so you'll see we reintroduce the invention cycle, and then we help you create one of your first projects. And there's also an action plan here where you can reflect on your experience and start thinking about how you would use that same challenge with your students. Once you've created, of course, you will then be moving into play. So here again, you have some interactive features so you can understand how you can take a circuit that you've built and try different applications. Some of the nice, one of my favorite parts of this session is, there we go, being able to, being able to choose different examples. So you see throughout the course that we provide menus of options. So if you're most interested in, say, hacking your backpack, now you can see that example in more detail. And there's also learning applications throughout. So this in particular is introducing the idea of Scamper, which is a strategy that aligns very well to Remix, and you can actually do the course, the quiz to test your knowledge. And at the end of this session, there's always checkpoints, so you can check your STEAM learning, see how you've been using the Invention Cycle in your classroom. And of course, what's next? We're going to start thinking about using that information to actually start thinking about how you would set the littleBits lesson up in your classroom. So session 4, this is definitely a point where the instruction becomes very personalized, and everyone has a different space and a different idea of how they'll be using it. So just some pointers on how you can care for the bits, maintain the bits. You can also, we guide you through some of the finer points of how you can adjust some of the bit modules. So there's tips and tricks. This one is a lot of fun, so you can actually match the bits to their various functions, and then you can check your answers at the end. And then, of course, when you start thinking about your implementation models, there's some videos and audio recordings from teachers who have used littleBits in various settings, such as in the classroom, in the library, and also in a mobile making cart. And finally, in session 5, as I mentioned, that you'll be creating your lesson. We walk you through some of the frameworks that we've seen used best, and walk through some guiding questions on connecting, engaging, teaching, closing, and practice and closing. And we provide the lesson plan template, which is nice. You can print this out to include things like objectives, assessments, standards, and what materials you'll be using. And then when you're ready, we definitely encourage you to deliver the lesson, whether it be with your students or colleagues, and see how it goes. Document it, take pictures, write down some reflections, and we have some guiding questions here that you can record in your action plan. And then at the end, you can actually share the lesson, as I mentioned, with your colleagues or even on the site. And at the end, you'll be able to have a link to a lesson, and if you upload your lesson onto the Create Your Certificate page, you'll have the PD certificate ready for review. So that is a very quick overview of the course, and we're looking forward to talking more about it in the questions. And yes, I see Kay had a question that the course is available now. There is a landing page on our website that you can access here, littlebits.cc/STEAMPD. And Sergio, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can speak a little bit more about how you're using littleBits and how the PD course has been helpful in your setting.
Okay, thank you. All right, welcome everybody, and thank you littleBits for having us once again. Today we're going to talk about how Colonial School District is using littleBits and a little bit about our STEAM culture. We're currently creating the STEAM culture with Discovery Education. We're building a STEAM leadership core, and what we're looking to do is to make sure that we are building skills and concepts that are preparing kids for tomorrow's workforce. When our kids leave us, we want to make sure that they are able to apply what they're learning in all of their courses, and making sure that the concepts and the skills that we are applying are transdisciplinary. And for the Colonial School District, STEAM is not a course, it's not a curriculum, but it's our culture. And it's the culture that we are starting to develop here at Colonial. In doing so, we created a very robust and very progressive K-8 technology curriculum. And it's built around 5 basic pillars: digital citizenship, coding and programming, digital storytelling, creating and designing, and communication and collaboration. And the key unit that is pretty much one of our best units and one of our most engaging units is our creating and designing unit. And as you look at our scope and sequence, you can see that we have embedded littleBits in 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th, 7th, and 8th, and we also have littleBits established in our maker spaces, both at the middle school library and at our high school library. So littleBits is one of our core tools that we use to deliver our curriculum and that we use to engage our students in meeting the learning tasks that we have created. Aaron showed you a similar graph. One thing we do enjoy and we like about littleBits is that it is very mashable. It works well with a number of different programs, a number of different tools that we currently use. We also have created a creating and designing journal similar to the one that you'll see in the class. And it's basically using the engineering design process. And what it does is it helps us identify and assess our students' learning. And it basically becomes an artifact of learning for the students. Since littleBits are not consumable, this serves as one of the ways that we can document what our students are learning and what they're working with when they're working with littleBits. And an example of our engineering design process that we've created. And then one of the things in developing the STEAM program is to make sure that we are putting kids in real-world situations to solve real-world problems that are helping others. And that's the key to our performance tasks when we build them. One thing about the professional development, I apologize for that, is that we built this curriculum, and when we first started preparing our teachers to teach it, it was basically out-of-the-box training. We basically opened up a little bit box, learned how to use them, and trained our teachers. But because littleBits has a low floor and a high ceiling, and the bits that are available are can be very complex and allow our students to create very complex machines, we needed a little bit more. And our teachers needed a little bit more training in how to really use and leverage the power of the littleBits. And so when we were told that there was a professional development session being developed, we wanted to make sure that we were in early as part of that pilot group. And we had the opportunity, or we were lucky to have the opportunity, to have 2 of our teachers participate in that professional development. And one of them is sitting here with me, Tyler Karamtosi, and he'll speak to his experience with that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. I want to thank littleBits first for allowing me to partake in the professional development. Coming into the school district, I had not done anything with the littleBits. And just like Sergio was telling you, basically it was here, take this box, see what you can come up with, and then we'll try and, do different tasks to, try to use the kids' creativity. With that being said, you're a little bit nervous about how am I going to do the best for the students. One of the things that helped out was having some of the other teachers that had already done this in, different schools in our district. But given the opportunity to actually do this professional development, looking back on it, I wish that I had done this beforehand. It was really easy to use. A lot of the stuff that Aaron was talking about, with the different links that it provides, with the different information that you get, it's just amazing how much more knowledge I have about littleBits. I know people are probably going to be a little bit comprehensive about starting this and how this entails the whole STEAM initiative. But it really does a great job of connecting everything. Using littleBits, our kids are able to create all kinds of different things. And what we do with our program is that we don't give them specific, tasks that they can just accomplish using a couple of the pieces. We give them something that not only ties into the community, but something that's going to make them think outside the box. Look at their, materials, look at the problem, and then come up with the best solution that they can. And I think the kids, when you put it out there to them, they are going to really surprise you with what they can do. And I was actually just talking to one of the science teachers in the school, and we're going to be working on something where, she's able to be more hands-on with her lesson through the use of the littleBits. And that's probably one of the biggest things that works for this is that the kids get a deeper learning of how things work because, of the hands-on that they're getting through the use of a littleBit. Again, I wish that I had this prior to starting this unit that I did on littleBits. Now that I know, the capabilities of it, now that I've gone through this professional development, the next trimester that I'm getting to, I have a lot more ideas. I have a lot better understanding of, not only what I want to do, but what we're able to do with the use of the littleBits. And a lot of the stuff that Sergio was showing you as far as the journals, that's the stuff that we use in our classroom. The kids are always, asked to figure out what is the challenge. Make sure that you come up with a solution, draw your solution. And then one of our biggest things is now that you have it put together, what's another way that you can improve upon it? And, the capabilities that littleBits provide, who really knows what these kids are able to create? It's just the ceiling is very high, like Sergio had mentioned before. So that was a little bit about my experience. Again, it is a great professional development. I highly recommend it. And I guess we're going to turn it back over to Aaron.
Thanks so much, guys. That was really great. Just a reminder to everybody, you can enter your questions in the control panel. We'll be answering them as we go. We've got some good ones here. So, Aaron, the first question for you, I think, how much experience should a school district have with littleBits before starting PD?
We actually made this course with beginners in mind, but as Tom said, he had a bit of experience beforehand, and I think, Tom, it sounds like you still learned a little something. So it's definitely, I would say the age 2 to 8 is the key factor, but it's definitely for anyone who wants to have a deeper understanding how littleBits can be used. And then I think applying it to STEAM is really helpful too, because you get to see how littleBits stretches again across all the different curriculum and age levels.
Great, thank you. Tom, a question for you. How has taking the PD course impacted or changed how you plan lessons, or how other teachers in your school plan their lessons?
Well, using the littleBits, I just think it makes it actually easier. The classes flow a lot better because, again, the kids do get a deeper knowledge of what we're actually doing. And having that I think it just makes it easier for me to plan because, the kids are always engaged. We're working in small groups. Usually I would say like 2 to 3, probably no more, and they're having specific tasks. So not only are the kids learning a lot, they're staying engaged the entire time. And I just think having that from the kids just makes it easier for me to know what I want to do with the lesson.
And did you take this course independently, or did you take it with other teachers next to you?
I took it with one other teacher. So we both completed it at the same time. But I think having other teachers working with you, you're able to bounce things off of each other. I know there's some things in the PD that has you, doing other things with teachers, like you make one of the projects and then you try to find input from, other teachers. And I think having that other person there really helps out, because then you get instant feedback.
Thank you. Aaron, we're getting a lot of questions about some clarification for what the program comes with. What kits comes with, what other kits should they have on hand? Could you review that for us, please?
Sure. So the PD comes with the online, it's a hardware and the software package. So you receive the 6-hour, 6-hour 5-session course, you'll have a unique registration. The way we set it up is that a lot of times we'll have a customer coordinator and multiple teachers taking the course at the same time. So once you go through the first session, which is online, then you'll be in touch with your customer coordinator to receive the hard order, which is the Gizmos and Gadgets kit, as well as 4 additional modules, which includes the inverter, pulse, button, and the number bit. And you also receive the educator guide and hard copy, which is nice to review as you go through the course.
And also the other question on a lot of people's minds is about the cost. Erin, can you talk a little bit about the pricing?
Sure. We actually have, next slide here, we're running a 20% discount through the end of the year, which brings the course down to $399. We wanted this course to be a robust learning experience with the software component to the hardware. I think one of the more exciting parts about this course is that you can use that hardware in your classroom forevermore. So it's something that you're investing in the initial training, but you'll have the hardware that you can use. And one of the things that we've thought about too, as far as the classroom management implementation, is that if you are training with several other teachers, you can use those kits and combine them and create a mobile making cart. Or it could be the beginning of a larger STEM unit that you want to roll out even across the grade level or even across the district. Depends on how far you want to take it.
Erin, one other question for you that just came in. Can people who are taking the PD course review sections of it over, after they've gone through it? Can they go back and redo it or read it again?
One of the things, so once you register for the course, you'll have 6 months access, and you can go back to the course, any page of the course throughout that 6 months. And as you said, you can also print out the pages too, so if you wanted to have it in hard copy. The one thing that doesn't refresh are your quiz answers, but you can always go back and see the solution.
So how would someone go about signing up for the course? Can you walk us through the process for purchasing and then getting started?
Sure. I'll show you. The best way to access the information is on our, excuse me, still in the PD platform here. littleBits.cc/STEAMPD is the best way to access the material. Let's see here, there's there's a video here that you can see some of the highlights of the course. You also see here the hardware that you received. And we do have a get a free quote section of the page, so you just fill in your name, info, and then one of our sales managers will get back to you as soon as possible.
Erin, one more housekeeping question about PD. Can individual educators purchase PD right now?
The course is available right now, and we are doing a minimum of 2 seats because the collaboration piece is so key to the experience. But I think training in pairs is always more fun too.
I think the question is more about, can an individual educator purchase it for themselves, or do they need to go through their school?
The way we set it up is that there's a key contact, just because we send the kit to a customer coordinator for distribution. But I think if you want to submit your information in that quote section there, we can talk to you individually about your situation and make sure that you have access. I think it's fine as long as you have a colleague to take the course with.
Sergio and Tom, a content question for you. Can you talk a little bit about student assessment? That was one of the questions that came in from one of our registrants.
Yes. In all of our content areas, whether it's social studies or math or language arts, and specifically in technology, is that we've developed a number of performance tasks that we have our kids complete. And the whole idea of the performance task is to really place the kids in that situation. Some of the tasks that we had in 3rd grade, one of the tasks was ask the students The principal wanted to make a piece of playground equipment safe, and the students would have to create a device to make the playground safer for all of the kids. In one of our examples, the kids chose the slide, and what they did is they used a number of different bits with a motion detector and with an LED light and the wireless bit, and they basically created a device that when the child slid down the slide and they passed the motion sensor, it would flash an LED light up at the top, signifying to the other students that it was safe to go up. And another example, students were able to create a prototype wheelchair pulley that they could then prototype and build to help the students pull a wheelchair up a specific ramp. So I mean, that's the power of littleBits, that if the kids can think it, they can really make it, and they can design it. And they can design a working prototype that they can actually see put in play.
We've also included some examples of assessment tools in session 4 of the course.
Thanks. And speaking about assessments, we had a question that came in. Have you considered aligning the STEAM professional development with a curriculum? And how would you recommend an educator align littleBits with educational standards? So I think, Erin, if you start us off about how PD aligns with standards, or at least takes it into account, and then Sergio and Tom, if you have anything to add after she's done.
We use mostly the NGSS standards throughout the course. In session 1, we do show you how you can map to additional standards like Common Core, state-specific standards. The educator guide, which also comes with the course, walks through that in a bit more detail. But we use the Invention Cycle as the main guiding force throughout the course, and you'll see how each of the different examples and projects relate to specific assessments.
And as far as curriculum alignment, I think we're lucky as that we have specific specialists at our elementary level. So our technology curriculum is taught K through 8. And every one of our students has the opportunity to go through all of these units and have this experience. And that was one of the main reasons we built our curriculum like this, was that so that there was equity, so that every one of our students had the opportunity to interact with all the concepts and skills that we want to develop, but also all the different tools, specifically the littleBits piece. So our creating and designing unit takes place in kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all the way to 8th grade. And what littleBits and why littleBits is an important tool for us, is that the kids won't get tired of using littleBits because of the complexity of some of the bits that they don't use at the lower levels. There's the cloud bits, and there's a couple of other bits that are really very powerful and very key to allowing the kids to really create something great.
Thank you. Erin, one question that just came in is about if it's only available in the United States. Is it available outside of the U.S.?
Yes. Right now we don't have any limitations on shipping outside the U.S. As long as you have access to the internet, you should be able to access the software component.
And another housekeeping question is some questions have come in about purchasing the course without the corresponding bit. Is that possible, or is it a full package?
It's a full package, just because we've created the course to be specifically mapped to the bits that you have available. So it's just a better experience so you can follow along.
And can you repeat the information about pricing? Some people dropped out and missed it when you said it before.
Yeah, definitely. It's we actually have a slide here. So it's 20% off through December 31st, which brings the course to $3.99, and that includes both the hardware and the software.
Well, thank you very much. I think we've covered most of the questions. If you have any other questions that we did not answer here, please email us at education@littlebits.cc. You can also go to littlebits.cc/STEAMPD to get more information and also submit for a quote. I just wanted to thank all of our panelists, Sergio, Tom, and Erin, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We will be recording this, sending it around. Look out for the email in the next couple hours, as well as your free guide to starting the STEAM program. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.